Hi, this is a short video that's going to demonstrate some of the mapping capabilities for tracks or polygons on the NRDS Aina mobile app. So I'm sitting over here in the office, and I'm going to first demonstrate how to like digitize a polygon, and then we'll go for a little walk, and I'll show you how to map something by tracking. So you can see I'm on the mobile app, and over here I have my menu. Before you go out in the field, you want to fetch data so that you can take the data offline with you. If you don't really want to grab a lot of data and you just want to say like update the drop-down lists, you can also click fetch and just update drop-downs, and that'll say like update all your drop-down lists, your configurations, things like that. So another really important thing about this app is you can switch to offline mode, or it'll actually switch offline when you go out of signal. So I'm just going to switch offline to show you those capabilities, and then we'll switch online later. So let's say I'm standing right here, and I want to say map or draw around something that's in front of me. So I can click this plus, and I'm going to click trace. And then I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to trace on the map an area. And I'm going to click stop save and then confirm. And I'm going to set it as a polygon. I can name it, hit OK, and then it pops up this form where I can say what kind of polygon it is. If I have specific purposes, I can list those as well. And then I'm going to save the polygon. Over here on this form, we have an option to say blacklist or whitelist the polygon. Blacklisting will just hide it on this device. I also have a status. I can also set the status of the polygon to say deactivated. And if I want to hide deactivated polygons or features from my map, I can come over here to the filter and I can turn off my deactivated polygons. So that's a great way to say hide things. So I'm going to draw another feature. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to use the trace tool, and I'm going to draw a line over here. I'm going to save it as a line feature, and save it. So you can see it's offline. It's red. That's how you draw or digitize features. So we have another way. You can actually pick. You can come over here, and you can actually draw by tapping. And tapping is like if you wanted to say digitize this house, right? So I can come over here, click, 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 and then save. And I can say that's a polygon. I'm just going to save it. Once I draw my polygon, you can see I have the area. I could also click on a line feature, also get the length of it. And that's essentially drawing or tracing with the app, with your finger. Now we'll go over mapping, actually, in mapping using the GPS on the device. So I'm going to step out of the office, so you're not necessarily going to see the pointer for my mouse, but I'll try my best to describe what I'm clicking on as I go. So we're going to step out of the office, and we're going to start mapping. Over here, I'm going to click the plus button over here on the bottom right, and I'm going to select trace. And you'll see as I walk over here, it's going to start following me. Oop. I actually probably, see, I accidentally clicked tracing. It's an easy mistake to make. So I'm going to click track. And before you start tracking, it's really important to check your location settings. And you want to make sure your location settings for the app are set to always. Otherwise, when the app goes to sleep, it'll stop tracking. So I'm going to click track, and I'm going to start, and I'm going to start walking, and you'll see it gives me my accuracy. It also gives me, tells me I can see my little dot where I started, and as I walk, you'll see it start to connect that line. So you may find that, like, oh hey, this is not fine enough, or it's too fine, or I only want to, I'm driving, so I only want it to collect data every so often. So I can come over here on my top left to these little sandwich bar, and I have an option for settings. Under settings, I have several options: the distance interval and the update interval. I can change my distance interval to something like, say, like take a point every 1 meter. The issue with that is that it collects a lot of data, and it could create a crash if you like go really far distances, right? But the idea is, it depends on your workflow and what you really need to map. So you can see once I set this thing to 1 meter, it's taking a really fine measurement of my track. There's a few other settings in there. You can set it yes or no to save the track data. And what that does is it collects all the metadata. So essentially, like for every dot on the map, it's going to save the lat long, timestamp, accuracy, speed. And so if you don't need that information, it's probably not worth collecting. If you scroll down, we have an option for elasticity, and this will use kind of like the best guess based on the speed you're going to do your tracking. You can also set your update interval based on time. So if you set the distance interval to 0, it'll take a track based on time. You can set an accuracy. So the accuracy is basically like if you're, say, standing next to a big building or in a valley, the accuracy of your GPS might go over 25 meters. And in that case, it won't take a point while you're tracking. The stop timeout, that'll essentially stop the tracking on the app. It'll kill tracking if you stop moving for 30 minutes. So that's something that works. Like, let's say you leave the thing on tracking and then you go home, and so then it doesn't just collect data all day long. So that's essentially, those are the GPS tracking settings. So I'm going to walk over here, kind of double back on my steps over here. And yeah, so once I'm done with my tracking, I can click Stop Save. And I'm going to save that as a line. And you'll see it get the same form. And essentially that's the setup for mapping or tracking with the app. I could have walked around the house and saved it as a polygon. Once I get back to where I have service, I can switch the app back to online mode and then push my data to sync it with the server. If I'm actually online when I collect this data, so I'm gonna go and do another little track, and just kind of walk around in a circle over here, and then I'm gonna save my track. I'm gonna save it as a polygon, and once I save, you'll see that it automatically syncs. Now the colors on here indicate, the orange or the purple indicate that it's been synced. If it's red, it's local on your system and it needs to get synced to the web once you have service. So that's an overview of tracking and mapping on the NRDS Aina app.